everyone. So we are going to go through what an ATS CV is. So I'm just going to go through my notes, and I hope this really helps you. This is if you want some information, template, let's call it template. Sorry, this is shaking. Get your ATS template here. So I've made it very affordable. So if you need some guidance there, you can go to that particular link. Or if you need one made for you, then you can reach out to us on info@lagvarlimited.com. I should have put that in the description, so you can check it out there. So I'll just go through what is needed when you are looking for an ATS CV. Yeah. So let's do this. I'll just say welcome. Yes. Okay, so an ATS applicant tracking system, CV, is a document optimized for the software used by employers to collect, to sort, and to rank job applications. So basically, as you apply to the company, they use it to collect, they use it to sort. So, for example, if let's say they're looking for undergraduate, and let's say this person has a graduate, they put it to the side. This one doesn't, they sort it, they put it to the other side. And then to rank job applications. So based on like keywords they find, then they can rank them according to who seems to be the best candidate. So it's a computer that's doing this. And sometimes they even use AI. Actually, many are now using AI. So when you're going to make your ATS CV, it's so important to make sure you look at the JD. You can even ask AI to check for the keywords there, and now generate your CV based on that particular job. So this is everything you need to know about getting a CV. So what is an ATS CV? This is something that we need to know that is different to the normal CV. So an ATS CV is a digital filter. It is a CV designed to be machine readable. So machine meaning it is a computer. ATS means applicant tracking system. So it's tracking. It's a system that tracks applications. So the software scans for specific data points to decide if you're a match. So it could be looking for keywords, it could be looking for location. Maybe they say you need to be working in a certain area. And so it's looking for those specific words or data points to see if you match the job that is available. Then it's also, as I said, keyword driven. So it can look at specific hard skills that you have, certifications, and maybe job titles that match the employer's requirements. Maybe they said you need to have been the product manager at this particular job. So it's looking for the words product manager. And so the thing is, in many large companies, a CV that cannot be parsed, meaning like read, by the application system will automatically be disqualified before a human sees it. So basically, the ATS is what filters out the CVs before it reaches like the HR person. So ATS and ATS CV is so important to have. Now, I'll give you from my notes tips for an effective ATS CV. So, to ensure your CV ranks highly and stays readable, follow these formatting and content rules. So, the layout should be simple, chronological order. Yeah. So, you can use a standard reverse chronological format. So, that just means that the job that you're doing now is right at the top, and then it goes to the oldest. So the ATS is programmed to understand career progression based on date. So it will understand that at the bottom that's your oldest job, and current where you currently are, or if you're in between work, that is at the top. Then also it's looking for standard headings. So use clear conventional headings like professional experience, education, and key skills so that the bot knows exactly where to look for the data. So when you look at your job, the job description from the notice the advert, then check for the professional experience and make sure that matches your ATS CV. Check for the education they're looking for. Some will ask for a master's in this particular area. Some will say high school diploma, no degrees needed, just as high school diploma. And then it will say key skills. Maybe you need to know how to use an AI platform, such as, then they give an example. So, but the thing is, by the way, don't be discouraged. If you don't have a lot of what is said, but you feel you could be the right fit, you can still just apply and pray that the bot picks up the key, the key data points. But of course, if you're in a completely different field, your application will not be seen by someone. So let's continue. So also avoid headers and footers. Yeah, it's important information like contact details. This can sometimes be ignored, and if it is placed on the header or the footer section, so it's like you just use the in between. Let me see who's here. Okay, let's continue. So make sure you have clean typography. That means that is a font that can be easily read. I know there's some very creative fonts and a lot of lines here and there, maybe merging to the next letter. But for the sake of that system, that application system, you need to be able to read what you have written. And so make sure you use fonts like Arial, Calibri, or Helvetica. Yeah, most people would know Arial or Calibri, which is absolutely fine. And basically, your CV, an ATS CV, is you have minimalistic design. So you just don't put images, charts, logos, complex tables. Basically, don't put lines. Otherwise, it confuse the ATS system. And you could be the right person for the job. But because it cannot detect you, then it goes into something else. And it disqualifies your CV just like that. So what happens when you put those things? It breaks the software in terms of what it's actually doing. Not like it crashes, but it it cannot read it. So what happens? It comes out as a mess of text to the recruiter. So it's just not it doesn't make sense. So that's why it's important to make sure that your design is minimalistic, and then the typography you use, which is the font, is simple. Like as we said, Calibri and Arial. Those are your safest. Then in terms of content optimization, you need to tailor the keywords. So you scrutinize the job advert, okay? And if the employer lists stakeholder management as a requirement, ensure that exact phrase appears in your CV. So basically what's happening, you just have to tailor make every CV that you do to each job that you apply for. So if you're applying for 5 jobs, then you have to tailor make your CV to be able to match those jobs. Otherwise, you could be the best person for the job, but because the ATS cannot read your CV, then you're automatically disqualified. Then also you can mix long and form acronyms. So you can include terms like Digital Marketing Suite and DMS to ensure the system recognizes the skill regardless of how the recruiter searches it. So for example, if you use a certain acronym for a particular role, then you can use that, but then you can also write it in full. So you put the acronym in brackets. Then make sure you focus on the hard skills, because the you could have the degree, but the specific skill they're looking for, that is quite important. So while the soft skills are great, the ATS, because it's not interacting with you like speaking to you, it will focus on the hard skills. So for example, if you know how to code, or it's asking for specific coding language like Java or Python, they have something like budgeting or SEO, then we need to do that.